Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Weekly Awakening Podcast. It's your host, Colleen. I hope everyone is doing wonderful, and I've missed you guys, and I hope you've missed me as much as I have missed you, but I'm back in my little home studio, back and ready to record and drop some episodes, but it was a really good break. Before I get into what I did on my break, I want to remind everyone, please follow me on Instagram at thehairhealer1111. Follow me on TikTok, thehealer1111. Follow me on Facebook, just Colleen Dixon. Yeah, reach out to me, find me so you guys can keep up with episodes, what's going on in my life, the daily astrology videos that I do on TikTok, and different things like that. I have to set up a new email address, but if you want to be on the show, reach out, suggest, send me a message, or email me, thehairhealerpodcast@yahoo.com. Now, for those of you just tuning in, I did not drop any episodes last week because I went away to Key West. Yes, I did. And I forgot my laptop. I actually had, Spirit had a different plan. I said, I'm going to go down there and I'm absolutely going to record. I'm going to bring my stuff down. I'll just bring my little microphone. It'll be fun. I'll do like a Key West episode. And I forgot my computer and everything, of course, that morning. And I went down, and it's hard for me as a Virgo rising and Virgo moon. I always feel like I need to be on, and even when it comes to creating, like hair to me, which I love, is still the money part, right? That's like the real physical work, and I never necessarily looked at all of this as work at all. I just don't, and I feel like if I'm not on, if I'm not creating content, if I'm not looking at my astrology, if I'm not doing hair healer stuff, like I'm getting behind somewhere on the social media content world, which is not true, but in my head I think that. So I had all these purposes to like, maybe I'll write this and that, and I didn't. As soon as I landed in Key West, Spirit was like, enjoy, Colleen, enjoy. Don't worry about posting anything other than your trip and how you're having fun and what's going on, and don't worry about it. And that was really hard for me to let go, again, to not feel, like I'm not doing something, I'm not being productive, and I'm going to be behind for you guys or people that follow me in some sort of way, which is not true, and we need to take a break. If we work in the creative field or any type of work field, but in the creative field where maybe making content is more fun for us and it's easy for us to do because it doesn't necessarily feel like work, we still need to take a break from that. We really do, our mind, body, and soul. So I had a great trip. I went away with the double Gemini Capricorn moon. That's all I'm really saying, as people know. You can listen to some episodes and really not hear too much more about that. That's it. Really, I'm not revealing, which is much different for me in my personal life. Before, everything would always be revealed. And as I've moved forward in the podcast, the hair healer, everything, I've become a little more personal with my life and where things are going. And I'm just enjoying life, but leaving little snippets and not telling anyone really much about this person, except for what you see, the little videos and his astrology. But that's it. So let's jump into the astrology for the Weekly Awakening. How is everyone feeling? Let me know. Send me a message. How is Mercury retrograde rocking your world? It hasn't been too bad. There's been bits and pieces, but I think the eclipse season, and we just had Mars squared Pluto, was a little more intense. This Mercury retrograde, there's a lot of good things happening in Gemini right now, so it's not too bad, but I know it's been a little crazy. Of course, I have things, I wanted to drop this episode 2 days ago, but then my router wasn't working, but my mother fixed it. Go figure. 2 days later, just various things. It's, if you listen to my Mercury retrograde episode, I'll tell you what to expect, what to avoid, how to go, but before we know it, we're done. And this retrograde, it teaches us patience, perseverance, to learn, to trust, to grow. But now let's talk about this new moon solar eclipse in Gemini that is happening on the 10th. This is going to be big. Again, this is going to be awesome. And then we also have Mercury cazimi in the sun. So it's right in the middle of the sun while this is all happening. But the sun, normally that's not always a good thing. But right now the sun is also in Gemini. So it's in its home place. So this is all really, really good. During the new moon, again, it's a solar eclipse. It's like new moon on steroids. So we're really focused on some sort of really big new beginning. And that's going to come with Mercury, the mental sign, the communicating sign, the sign that shifts between masculine and feminine. I don't know why I just said those that way. Masculine and feminine is going to bring some change, but it's really going to bring shifts and changes through your thoughts, your focus, your ideas, your plan. I can tell you, if you want to know more personal how it's going to happen in your life, first of all, check out your rising sign horoscopes, but check out my teacher, Achuta Bhavadasa at Nightlight Astrology, check him out. He just dropped his episode about this, and he goes into like about 30 seconds on each sign and what you can expect from this and what you can focus on. And again, he's amazing. He's my teacher, teaches me the spiritual philosophy of astrology. His classes start next weekend, but check that out if you want it more personalized. One day I'll get to that on the show, but I'll give you a little example. So my Gemini rules my 10th house. The 10th house is your career, your public image, your most front and center. You know, that's also the father's house, different things like that up there. And so that's my job, career house, my work. Now, Gemini is coming through, and from this break that I actually took from social media content, I rediscovered, and as we're approaching this solar eclipse in Gemini, where I also have my sun, my Mercury, there's a lot of things up there, I all of a sudden was like, oh, wait, I can create and change my content in this way. This way. All of a sudden I was like, oh, that's a good idea if I do it this way. And it's especially on TikTok, if you're above like 24, we're just like constantly trying to figure out which way to present, at least for me, astrology info to younger people. And by younger people, that's who's putting out the content. So anyone older that is also, their brain is starting to change with that also. So I was like, okay, I can start delivering my TikTok videos this way. That came about. And then I have the show, the Andocast, that I work on with Andy. And I have another show that someone came up to me about being on their show too. And both of them are just in the today, I just talked to them on the phone. It's like coming together and it's shifting and it's changing. And they're both like, okay, wow, this is all great new ideas, new starts, new beginnings, and sort of the way that I'm going about all of this is changing, and it's changing in a beneficial way and meeting people. And so I don't know what's coming from that. But again, there are myself, the new thoughts, the shift in focus, the new ideas, the plans, how I can change that. And then also around me, I'm getting people that are also showing up. So this is a really, 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 really big new moon, new beginning, blessings. I think this is going to be good. So look, what house does Gemini rule in the 12 houses? Where does that rule? That's where you're really going to see this big change, the shifts. And again, sometimes it might necessarily with Gemini be so physical, something you see right away, as it could just be your thoughts, your awareness. One way you looked at a situation this way, and the next day you look at it a totally different way. So I'm really excited about this new moon. Focus. Find out again what house rules Gemini and focus your new moon manifestations around that. The energy is on the side. So if it's in your house of marriage, okay, what ways and new thoughts? If you're single, can I be more open-minded to what types of person I'm dating? Or maybe I should go this direction with that or that direction with that. Or maybe I'm bisexual. I don't know. Different things can come out in that sort of way with that. Let me take a deep breath. You know what? I just realized I've been wanting to start out with that deep breath episode, which I did a couple weeks ago. And I forget, I think, every other episode to take a deep breath. So let's take one together. If you're listening, whatever you're doing, if you can, if not, just pause for a second. But let's just take a deep breath. All right. Now I feel pretty good. I think I started to get off track, and that's also like, no, Colleen, center, come back together. Remember, if we're feeling like we're off track mentally, which can happen in Mercury retrograde, we feel scattered all over the place. Sometimes we just have to get conscious of the moment and bring it back and relax and take a moment to get consciously aware. Earlier, when I tried to, which is, again, Mercury retrograde, when I tried to start my recording, start the info for the show, I literally redid it like 7 times. My words were jumbled. This wasn't saying that. I forgot to hit the record button. Various things kept happening. And I'm like, okay, Mercury retrograde, take a breath, take a second, and take a step back. Whew. So I'm excited. This is going to be good. And then we're ending eclipse season, right? We just had this eclipse a couple weeks ago. If you guys listened to that episode, the full moon. And now we're having this eclipse coming, now we're finishing out this. And sometimes we don't always see these things right away, but with eclipses, they're tiny seeds, but major seeds, right? They're like a tiny little seed of growth, but it's going to produce over time, and it's going to get big, or it's going to shift and bring big, big, big blessings, big beginnings. So, oh my gosh, I'm so itchy right now. Let's jump into Venus in Cancer. And before I get into that, I am a pale, if you know me, you know that I'm a pale white Irish person. I'm so pale. When I was young, I was tannorexic. I used to, for a short time, I went to tanning beds. I think we all did that 15 years ago. But Key West was so hot. I was in the sun constantly, and I could feel around my tattoos near the last day getting a tiny little bit blistered. And I'm like, okay, but I'm still applying. But honestly, sometimes I forget and various things like that after, a couple hours or whenever you have to reapply it. And then I took my kids. I get home from Key West, and I take my kids to the pool. And I spent 4 hours there, and probably 2 hours in, I broke out into rashes, and the rashes turned into, what am I looking for? Not a scab, blisters. So I got my first bout of sun poisoning. Conveniently enough, my next astrology I'm going to talk about is Venus moving into Cancer, where, as we know, Mars is coming out next at the end of this week, I think, or next week. I got to check. But Mars is in there, and Venus in Cancer, right? The sun, the beach, the ocean, and the Venus and Cancer being the body, representing the body. The moon represents the body. Venus, sort of that pleasure, trip, swim, enjoying. And Mars rules burns, cuts, everything. And it went in there, and all of a sudden, I got super, super burnt. So there we go with that. So Venus moved into Cancer, moved out of Gemini, and moved into Cancer, which it's actually my natal. I have a Venus in Cancer. That's why I love being loved. I loved, people being obsessed. I want people to call me a goddess. Not you guys, but, just men. And various things like that. And so when it moves into that, we become much more romantic. So again, having a natal Venus in Cancer, I believe in love. I'm obsessed with love in some ways, and believe in magic. And I just want someone there. It's very opposite of my Mercury ruled other personality when it comes to love and different things like that. So when we have that, first of all, I really want to talk, because something that came to me about this transit and what's happening is really relationships with the mother and healing the mother wounds. If you're listening to this and you had an amazing relationship with your mother, that's wonderful. That is so good, and that's amazing. And I had issues with my father, and also, but a wonderful time with him too. My mother is amazing. I love her, and she'll never listen to this. I love her so much. I've talked about her. My moon is on my ascendant, so in Virgo. So we have some issues, like every mother. And I've worked through a lot, years of therapy, and it's not all her. Half of it was me and half of it was her, right? It's complicated. Children, being a parent, now that I'm a parent and a child, and we don't realize that our children as a parent are our greatest reflections. It's how we learn. It's how we grow. It's how we do the things that we do. But we have to forgive. My mother, speaking of my mother, literally is calling me 5 times in a row. I told her I'm doing this episode, and then she wants to know something, and I guess she forgot. So there's a little, no, I'm just kidding. I was going to say there's the mother wound. But this is a really good placement for us to heal it. We want to hold on. Sometimes our mind, body, soul wants to hold on to the pain. It wants to hold on to those wounds because it's comfortable. I know that sounds crazy, right? But when you're used to feeling pain, trauma, things like that, sometimes your body's used to it, so it feels almost like a drug, and it doesn't. It feels out of whack when you try to heal those things. So we push them aside, we ignore it, whatever. But things are coming up for you now to express freedom. I'm sorry, not to express. Well, you could express freedom if that is one of the mother wounds, but to extend an olive branch, to express forgiveness, to take, hey, I'm feeling this way, I'm seeing this thing, I'm feeling this sort of wound of my mother that's coming up, and I need to heal it. I need to do something with it. What is happening? Or maybe it's just showing up to show that, hey, you need to forgive. No one is perfect. You need to forgive, and you need to do that. And we don't forgive for necessarily other people, right? A lot of times the biggest part of the forgiveness is felt in ourselves, so we can let go. Because people oftentimes when they harm us, they're not worried too much, honestly, about what we feel or think, but we can become obsessed with that, right? We hold on to resentment, of pain, of anger, of not when we don't want to let that go, and that actually keeps us sick. That keeps us trapped. That keeps us separate. It's hard, but when we forgive, when we love, when we extend that olive branch in whatever way, when we come to something with compassion and understanding, things can grow and shift. And particularly having this in a water sign, right? Again, growing, forgiving, emotion, letting it flow. What's holding you back? What's holding you back from starting over, right? With your mother or any other. This could, Venus represents aunts, sisters. Is there a sister wound? Is there an aunt wound? Where do you need to look to forgive, to let go, to move on, to reconnect? I can tell you in any of my relationships, especially those really deep, parental or really soul connected friendships, relationships, love, they can be repaired if two people are willing to be open-minded enough. Both come from a positive, not a positive, but come from an open-minded space, a space of love and forgiveness. People can change and grow, and that relationship can be repaired. That fracture can be absolutely repaired 100%. And this past weekend, we had a nice trine with Venus and Jupiter in the water signs too. And it was, when I went away, my mom watched my kids for some of those days. And when I got home, it was beautiful. We just had this great talk and understanding. And I was able to, when she went to bed, really reflect and have a deeper understanding of her and why she sometimes does the things she does or says the things she says or where, and just a deeper understanding of her and who she is in that moment, because I went into it with those energies more open-minded. And I said, hey, all right, that's good. And that's something I can heal. And maybe we can go this direction for the healing. So with that, there's a lot coming up for that. Almost, even though Venus is very in love and Cancer, and it's lesser, for some reason with the Cancer, I just see the mother, I see the mother and the mothering around that. Also in relationships, my Venus and Cancer, I always tend to want to mother the other person or be their mother. And it's actually kind of a little different with the Gemini rising and the Gemini, because he's double, and so I'm getting familiar with that, and I'm bringing that up, and I'm reflecting, and I'm conscious, and in order to, we need to be conscious of these things. We need to see these things. We need to get this weekly awakening in our soul, because then we can be more conscious and open to what's happening around us, and we can be more in control of our reactions. When I think, okay, I know that Mercury retrograde, when everything goes, just stupid shit goes wrong. My computer breaking down. I said, okay, composure. I guess it's just not tonight. That's just not what's happening. And I have to let that go. So oh my God, I cannot believe I'm just yawning. Oh my God. Does that mean my show's boring? No, I'm just kidding. I know it's not. It's been a long day, and I haven't been sleeping a lot. I don't know how everyone's sleeping, but speaking of mothers, my children, my sons, and I know other mothers can probably relate, sleep in my bed. They've been sleeping there for probably 14 months now, I think, since my ex-husband moved out. And they're getting big. And I'm like, you guys are too big. I don't have any room. I can't fit. You need to move over, get back in the bed. They're like, no, we're not. I said, yeah, you need to, because I need to sleep. I need my room. I'm 6 foot, and we're in this tiny little, queen size bed, and they're getting too big. So that is something that though makes me tired. But at the same time, I'm so tired. I feel like I don't sleep because one's on me. But at the same time, I wake up in the middle of the night and one's cuddled, or the next morning, and I'm like, man, before I know it, oh my God, I feel like I could get teary-eyed right now. These moments are gone. My 8-year-old already told my mom the other day that he was embarrassed that he kissed her out in public, and he still wants to cuddle at night. And I'm like, I'm tired, and I get this, but this isn't going to be forever. Only a couple more years, and he's going to be gone. And that can be sad in itself. Talk about healing even a child wound of the children we have, and mourning and letting go of each one of their phases. That's a big thing that has also been coming up in a deeper understanding as I learn to understand myself. But in that, and allowing him to be, and I just these phases, they're just going so fast and way too fast in front of me. I don't even know if what made sense. I started to tear up, and that kind of threw me off, because I was like, don't cry on the show. Don't cry on the show. And then I was like, where am I going? Because I'm trying not to cry on the show. I did a little bit of crying, and I think when Venus is in there, we'll have some, and we still have Mars in there. And I'm getting ready for Mars to move out into Leo, where I think that's going to bring, I'll do a show on that in a couple weeks, but that's going to bring some exciting new shifts, and things are going to feel a little bit better when that moves out energetically. So again, we got this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful new moon, solar eclipse coming, new beginnings, new changes. And my biggest thing is be open-minded. Take that message today. Make that be your weekly awakening today. How can I be more open-minded with whatever comes your way, right? How can I be more open-minded by this person who made me mad, who gave me an attitude? How can I be more open-minded towards this person I'm judging? How can I silently judging? How can I be more open-minded to this, to that? Whatever it is, go with open-mindedness and believe in yourself. You can manifest, you can create anything in your life. Just believe it. And have a great day. You could tell at the second I was like, wait, what did I say? Mercury retrograde. I just lost it again. Again, I feel like I'm just getting my mojo back. Going that many days without recording, and I'm so used to recording. I'm like, wait, where's the start button? Where's the recording button? My ADHD is coming in. I'm just kidding. I hope everyone has a fabulous week, has a fabulous new moon. I love you all. Thank you again I could never stop thanking you for the continued support. Oh, remember, I'm back at Capriati Salon Wednesday through Saturday, and I feel like I've barely been back since I went on vacation, but that's been amazing, and things are going well. So be open-minded, forgive, and love. Open-mindedness, forgiveness, and love. Just say those words to yourself as many times as you need it today. And remember, those are 3 very, very important key ingredients to life. I love you all. Thank you again. Have a fabulous week.